Hey y'all, welcome to Shades of Brown, the podcast that discusses the ever-evolving and sometimes contradicting thoughts of a Black millennial. I'm your host, Allie B, and I'm really grateful you're here with me for another episode. If this is your first time with me, a special welcome to you and a special thank you to you, and I hope you stick around. By the time this episode comes out, I'll just be getting back from celebrating my 32nd birthday. So I wanted to take this time to give some birthday reflections and share with y'all the lessons I've learned over the last year. So let's unpack it. Lesson 1, and it's more of a reminder, but it's going to be a lesson today. And that is, God is gentle and does not delight in seeing God's children suffer. Due to all of the transition that I've experienced in the last 2 years, I found myself in a place of kind of having an attitude with God, not kind of straight up being resentful, because all those transitions were a result of me saying yes to God, following the Lord, being obedient, doing what I believe Holy Spirit was leading me to do. And in that, a lot of other stuff came with it. Life just being life, and some other things. And I found myself hurt, heartbroken, disappointed. And at some point over the last year, really it was earlier, at the beginning of this year, Holy Spirit just gently reminded me of the character of God, and that He's a good Father. Like Abba is good and doesn't delight in seeing His children in pain. I don't want to ascribe gender to God, but y'all get me. God doesn't delight in seeing His children, in pain, and He had to remind me that it wasn't Him, inflicting pain upon me or, inflicting suffering upon me. Will He use this suffering? For sure. But it wasn't like He was handing out trials and tribulations, because He just wanted to. So, that was a pretty major one for me over the last year is being reminded of how gentle God is, how good God is, and that He's never punishing me. He's never punishing any of us. That's one of the lessons that was more of a reminder, but I'm taking it as a lesson for the year. Lesson 2, I am never stuck and I always have options. And that's a piggyback on what I was just saying. Because of the disappointment and all the things that I've experienced over the last couple of years, I found myself feeling so stuck and feeling like I cannot move. I'm being suffocated by my circumstances and yada, 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 And it was really, really, really liberating to come into the awareness of like the truth, which is I'm not stuck. Like at any given moment, I have multiple options. At any given moment, I can change courses. I can change paths. I can change everything around me if I wanted to. At any given moment, like I have options. I am in control of my decision making. Am I in control of life and what happens to me? Absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. I have limited control. However, when it comes to the decisions that I make, when it comes to how I govern my own life, that's on me. And I have options. What I choose to do, that's on me. But I can do what I want to do. So I'm not stuck. Very liberating. Lesson 3. Sometimes what we're experiencing is not spiritual warfare. Sometimes what we're experiencing is a medical condition that needs to be checked out by somebody. If you've listened to this podcast for any amount of time, I'm churchy. I grew up in the church. I grew up Pentecostal, and you know that I was taught that everything is spiritual. If something good is happening in your life, it's the Lord. If something bad is happening, it's the devil. Down to parking spots, down to, I mean, just everything, right? Like everything is, if it's going bad, if you late to work, it's the enemy. And it's like, no, I mean, it could be other things, right? So I found myself giving the enemy way too much credit. last part of last well yeah part of last year and the majority of this year, I was experiencing like really, really bad headaches every single day, waking up with them, going to bed with them, pounding headaches. And I attributed it to my job, my very stressful job at that time. I told you about that stupid case management job. And I was, just in a very high pressure, high stress situation. And I believed it to be the devil attacking me, because here I am trying to obey the Lord and yada, 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 and do the right thing and follow Jesus and say yes and live out of yes, Lord. And the enemy is just coming for me, right? Like I'm doing the right thing and the enemy is doing this, right? And it was many things happening, but these headaches was one physical manifestation of what I was experiencing at the time, right? So I'm just like, oh, it's the devil. One day my mom she's like, do you need glasses? And I'm like, I've never had any issues with my sight. No, thank you. I appreciate your concern, but you can, keep praying that the devil, back up, because we got the victory and he ain't gonna win. So that was that. I kind of just brushed it off because I've literally never had any issues with my sight. Fast forward a few months and my cousin is in town and we're catching up, and I mentioned these daily headaches and how stressful it's been to wake up with a pounding headache and to go to bed with one that's just, oh man, the worst. And he asks me, he says, "You're in front of a computer all day, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "And then you go home and work on your own stuff, your podcast, your content to create. So you're on your phone all night, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yeah." So basically all day long, you have a device in front of you. Your eyes are being strained. You probably need glasses, and that's probably where your headaches are stemming from. And I was like, Mama did. Mama did mention that. So I go get checked out. Y'all, tell me why this doctor gonna tell me that I got slight astigmatism. So now I wear glasses. What in the world? I thought my vision was fine until I put on them glasses. And I was like, oh my God, I've never seen trees so beautiful in my life. Y'all, I don't know why I'm this way. Like, I was over here blaming the devil, and I needed glasses. Needless to say, the headaches have significantly reduced. Granted, I'm still in front of a computer all day, so, if I don't have on my prescription glasses, I've got on my blue light filter glasses. But yeah, child, it don't be the devil all the time. So yeah, not second guess, but reevaluate what you're calling spiritual warfare. It might just be you are sick in your body and you need some medical attention. It might be, like something that has a quick fix, So yeah, it's not always warfare, child. We not always fighting. We should not always be in battle. I don't want to go down that path, but saints and friends, if you're always in battle, something's wrong. Something is wrong. At some point, someone has to win and or lose the battle. I mean, we can't just, okay, I digress. Lesson 4. Lesson 4 is, this is a sad one. I've learned that people have varied definitions of loyalty. I've learned that Terry from Soul Food was right. The family. Bleep the family. Like, even people who share your last name or, have your same biological makeup, they're not always loyal. And And I won't even say that I'm always loyal, but like I said in the beginning, a lot of us have different definitions of loyalty. So I'm learning to be on the same page about what our definitions are when I'm entering into friendships or connections, relationships. Let's make sure that we have the same definition of loyalty, because I'm learning and I'm seeing and observing that niggas don't be loyal. We'll say they're loyal. I mean, we'll say it, and I'll just be like, but I just be peeping and watching and listening, and I'd be like, whoa, like, yo, people are something else. People are something else. So yeah, that was kind of sad, a sad lesson to learn this year, because I'm a Libra, I'm a lover. I want everyone to get along. Why can't we just all get along, do the right thing? I'm all about justice and righteousness, and not in like a selfish, a self-righteous or like churchy way, but like legit, like, why can't we just all be good people? Just do the right thing, be ethical. And it's just not the case. So that's been a bummer to really like settle, like, people do not be loyal. And it sucks too, because it's just like, I don't want to be worrying about, like, looking over my shoulder, or who can I trust or who can't I. But it's life, right? It's life. So y'all be careful out there. Lesson 5, I think. Yes, lesson 5. No thing is worth my sanity. No job, no assignment, no paycheck, no nothing is worth my sanity. It's just not worth it. Like, I'm gonna protect my peace. That's period, point blank. And yeah, just things just be real simple, like, I don't know. I personally have overcomplicated so many things in life about life. And the older I get, the more I learn that this can be simple. Like, I can control what I can control. I cannot control what I cannot control. And if it is driving me insane, I can disconnect. Like, so yeah, nothing is worth my sanity. Lesson 6. Lesson 6. No matter how much inner work I have done, there's always more to do. And that is humbling, and sometimes flat out discouraging. But it's another reminder that there is no there, that the journey is the destination, the journey is the goal. So yeah, I'll get to these, places where I think, okay, I'm still working on stuff, but that piece of it, I've got that down pat. And then something will happen and I'm like, oh snap, that's coming up again. Sheesh. But it's like we just stay on the journey and we keep committing and recommitting to becoming better. And that's all we can do. Lesson 7. A man can call me every single day and can tell me how beautiful and amazing he thinks I look, and have all the amazing conversations and take me on the most unforgettable dates and answer all my heart questions and check off all the boxes and still not want me. And it ain't nothing I can do about it. That's the lesson, child. Oh man. Lesson 8. The only way I will ever experience the love, passion, and intimacy I desire is to risk getting my heart broken. There is absolutely no other path to trust, to connection, to intimacy without vulnerability. I can't get to those spaces, those places with anybody without risking it all. And that is so terrifying. It is so terrifying. And I try to inch my way. Like I haven't been in a relationship, a committed relationship in I don't know how many years at this point. Four, 4 years, 5 years. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus! It's been 5 years since I was, last in a committed relationship. And over the span of those 5 years, I've dated, I've tried to date, I've casually dated, did some exclusive dating, whatever. I've dated, right? And I would just try to inch my way into what I desire. And it's like, sis, it don't work like that. Like, if you gon' be out here, like, and you find someone who you believe is worth that risk, you got to deep dive, sis. Go out in there, like, and maybe you will get your heart broken into pieces again, but maybe you won't, and maybe it will be amazing. Either way, you ain't gonna find out until you risk it all, and that, yeah. I just figured there was a way around it. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking, child, and maybe I just didn't realize how guarded I was until this past year. Maybe I didn't realize how deeply, deeply, deeply afraid I am of ever being heartbroken again. But and I guess lesson 8A is, or 8.1 is, even if I do experience heartbreak again, I serve a God who is going to protect me and rebuild me. And I also am strong enough to handle that, because I handled the last one that I thought would destroy me, and I'm still standing with it. So yeah, it's like there's just no way to get these things that we want, these valuable things that we want, without some level of risk and some level of like real investment. So yeah, child. So there's that. Lesson 9. I don't know why I'm tickled, but yeah, I don't know. It's just like, well, sis, what you gonna do? Child, because the way I be like running at the slightest hint of trouble, like, and I thought that was me being a strong, independent woman. And really, it's me just being a scaredy cat. Like, I'm afraid. Yeah, I'm afraid you will hurt and harm me and bring me pain. So no. But yeah, y'all. Anyways, pray my strength. Lesson, I don't even know what number I'm on. I don't know. The next lesson I learned over the last year is international travel can be just as cost effective and sometimes even less expensive than domestic travel. That was a cool lesson to learn. I went on my first international trip, went to Mexico, and it was much cheaper than the majority or a lot of the trips I've taken over the years domestically. So that was a very cool lesson to learn. I learned some travel hacks on that trip too that maybe I'll share a little later. The biggest lesson that I've learned over the last year, the biggest lesson year 32 taught me. I just turned 32, but I have just lived year 32. Does that make sense? Like, I turned 32 because I've completed 32 years. So the biggest lesson that year 32 taught me was I am free to do what I want to do. And that being what I want to do, that's more important than what I believe I should want to do based on cultural expectations, based on family pressure, based on you name it. Yeah, and I've learned quite a bit about myself over this past year. And one of those things is like I learned that I'm much more liberal than I've allowed myself to lean into. I typically like I'm conservative in a lot of areas. I'm pretty moderate, right? I'm pretty balanced. I'm a Libra, right? I'm pretty balanced. I'm all about this and that. That's what this show is about, right? Like, it's all about the this and that. So yeah, I've considered myself to be pretty moderate in just about all things. But this last year, I learned like, no, I am not extremely liberal, but I am really liberal. Much more liberal than I've allowed myself to lean into. So lately, what I've been asking myself is, what would I do? What would I say? What would I believe if I wasn't afraid of being judged? And and answering those questions just to myself, I have been a bit surprised at the true answers. That it's not, what I initially believed was true about me. So I'm now leaning into that first. What is the true desire, the core, like the core desire? If I, take away the judgment or perceived judgment or whatever, right? Shame, all the extra layers, but take all that away. What do I want? I lean into that first now, and then I adjust according to my core values, according to my standards, according to my beliefs, right? Versus, bending to and accommodating for other people's values and other people's beliefs. It's my own, right? And I get to even question those core beliefs and core values and those standards. And it's, asking myself the hard questions about, well, why is that your core belief? And why is that your core value? And where does that come from? And where does it, yeah, all those things, right? So it's been pretty interesting to explore myself in that way. Because I just thought I was much more conservative than I am, and I'm not. So yeah, that's been a big one, is that I'm free to do what I want to do. And I'm also free to be held accountable to those decisions, right? Like, I'm not out here saying that you're like, oh, I can just go slap somebody because I want to slap somebody. Like, no, I'm going to align it with my values, right? And of course, be accountable to that action, right? Like, I know that you just can't do that. So, yeah, it was just surprising to me. Like, okay, okay, okay. I like that. I like you. You kind of cool. Okay, okay, sis. Okay. So yeah, I'm free to do as I please. So yeah, those are some major takeaways from year 32. And I'm excited to see what year 33 has for me, and to continue growing, continue evolving, continue learning, continue unlearning. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for this new year. I really am. So happy birthday to me, Libra gang. Ow ow. Throw up sign, Libra signs. What? um. If you're watching this on YouTube, I would love for you to drop in the comments some lessons you learned since your last birthday. And if not that, just tell me like your favorite birthday story. Like, where did you go? What did you do? Who were you with? Like, share with me some of your birthday stuff. I would love that. So yeah, those are my lessons. So let's get to this next segment. It's the new segment of Shades of Brown, which is Shades of Dating. This segment is where me and my guests will share dating stories that further verify the dating pool has piss in it. So this story, Lord Jesus, it's funny now. It was not funny then, y'all, but this story is... Why am I so tickled? Okay, maybe it's a defense mechanism. I don't know. But this story will be about the time I found out that I was a side chick. So I was dating a guy in college, and he was so unassuming. Like, I even had to be talked into dating him because he was just so opposite of, my type, my preference, the kind of guy I would go for. He was corny though, and I got a thing for corny dudes. I got a thing for corny dudes. I really, really do. So he got me. And I said that part about him because no one would have ever thought this guy would cheat on anyone. So I certainly wasn't thinking, he would cheat on me. And nothing pointed to that, from what I could see. So, well, anyways, child, he cheated. Okay. Well, okay, let me slow down with the story. So, I was dating this guy and we were in college and it was an off and on relationship. It was one of those toxic, situations. And there's this one period of time where we were back on. Okay, we were together, or at least I thought, the child. I thought. But this time though, things were a bit different. Things were shifting for him personally, as well as for me. So like we weren't going on as many dates. He was going out of town more often because of some training he was doing. So I would typically spend time with him between Thursday and Sunday. That was the time he had available then. So cool. He'd get back in town on Thursdays. I would meet him at his apartment. It was like a rhythm we had. The minute he got in town, I was there, and we would watch Grey's Anatomy together, have dinner, yada yada. And he lived with his best friend at the time, and they were roommates, right? So this particular Thursday night, child, this particular Thursday night, for me, it's no different. He's back in town and I'm going to pull up so we can, have some quality time. So this night we go to his room, we're kicking it, just kicking it really, like just kicking it. And I don't need, yeah. We're hanging out and I'm lying on his bed. Like I forget, like, I don't know, but I was kind of tilted up. Like, I guess maybe a pillow was behind me or something, but I was kind of tilted up to where I could, like, if someone were to come in, I could see. So I'm just lying there, just kicking it, feet up, chilling, talking to him. And I'm not sure where he's at, in the room, but in comes a woman, like in his room, not in the apartment, like in his room. So whoever this was had to, like, she had to have access into the apartment to get to the room. And his roommate was there, but I didn't hear no one like knock on the door. I didn't hear the roommate go open the door. Like, this person just appears in the room and she's standing in the doorway and she looks at me and I look at her and then I look at him like, who this? And she said, I forget, I don't want to like make up words, but she said something like, I knew it. And she storms out. And it's so much is happening in so little time. Like, oh my God, like all the things. And then all of the signs and all of the clues all come rushing back to me, right? Because I remember there was a card on his dresser that was written by a woman. It was a friendly card, but it was just a little bit too friendly. It was like, we're so thankful that you're in our life. It was just a little bit too friendly for me, right? So I remember asking him about that card. First of all, why you still got the card? Because who keeps cards? You don't. So I remember him asking me. I remember asking him about that card, and he, explained it away or whatever. And because of who I was at the time, all right, whatever. Because I was never the jealous type, and I'm still not the jealous type. I should be a bit more cautious though, because that was a telltale sign. Like, girl, this man got a card sitting on his dresser, written and signed by another woman. This girl, and there were some other clues too. So yeah, She storms out. So then he like, gets up and walks after her. And then I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. So I get him. I'm like, hey, who is she? Right. So I keep questioning him until he finally tells me. And I say, is that your girlfriend? He's like, he finally says yes. And I'm like, wait, so so does that make me? Yeah. This thing is tickling me on tonight. Whew. Okay. So yeah, y'all. That's in that moment I learned. So I'm the side chick. How did that happen? Like we had been dating for like a couple of years. Like plural. So yeah, that was that. And so I got, of course, upset, and I was just like freaking out because his roommate was there, but also his roommate's friend or girlfriend. I'm not sure who she was, but she was there too. So I'm feeling embarrassed, shamed, like all the emotions at once, right? So I'm like crying, and I storm out and I say bye to him, to the roommate, because he was cool with me, you know what I'm saying? I had no problems with him. And I'm like, whatever, I'm out. So I leave, drive up, University Boulevard in Huntsville, Alabama, to my apartment. I get home. I was livid. And like maybe like 5 minutes after I get home, his roommate, this is where it get messy. His roommate texts me something like, sorry, Britt, for what just happened, but the girl, she's back. So if you need to, I don't know, do what you need to do, she's back. I'm just letting you know. You ain't got to tell him I let you know. I just feel bad. Just want to look out for you. She here. So I was like, bet. I'm pulling back up because I need answers. Okay? I need answers. Because like we done, but I need to understand some things because yeah. What's not gonna happen is she thinking I'm the side chick, because that's not I'm not settling for that story. I'm not settling for that narrative. I'm gonna leave with some dignity. So I go back to their apartment, and his roommate had told me like what kind of car she drives. So I'm like, all right. I see the car when I pull up, and I park right behind the car, so she cannot back out, and he can't go nowhere. They stuck. Ain't nobody leaving until I get my answers. So I parked behind her car, and they were in the car. They both were in the car. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get what's happening. He's lying to her. He telling her whatever, whatever. And she falling for that crap. So I go on the passenger side, knock on the window. He looking at me like, I'm like, yeah, I would love to talk to y'all. I would just, at this point, I've calmed down. I'm not crying no more. I'm not, screaming no more. I'm calm. I just need answers. So they both get out of the car, and now I am in a situation where it is 2 women, 1 man outside of this apartment complex, and she's yelling at him. She going off. And I had a moment where it was almost out of body, like, is this my life? Am I the good girl in this situation where I'm outside and people are probably looking at us? Because we are out here acting. I done pulled up behind her car. I done blocked her in. She going off on him. I was like, this is really ghetto. This was a mess. So yeah, child, long story short, of course, he lied, and she was like, how you know he had a girlfriend? You didn't see my clothes in there? You didn't see my son's toys in there? And I was like, your son's toys? Those not the roommate's son's toys? Because his roommate has had a son. I'm like, I'm thinking it's the roommate's son. And I know the roommate's son. So I'm like, they so-and-so's toys. I'm not thinking, child, apparently this man was taking care of her, taking care of her son. Her laundry was over there. I'm like, what? She was driving his car when he was out of town, which is really bold because he had a very like noticeable car. Like, it's not like he was driving I don't know, like some black sedan. Like, it was a very noticeable car. So the Negro was bold, okay? The ninja was bold. And I was like, so this is why we ain't been going on as many dates? This why we not doing what whoop, 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 because you out here taking care of her and telling me like, oh, I'm just... Anyways, child, he was living a double life, and I found out that I was a side chick. And I was like, that don't sit right with me. If I'm gonna be anything, I'm gonna be the main one. Either way, child. I mean, we both got cheated on, child. So yes, that was the time that I found out that I was a side chick. All right. Next segment, brownie points. I am so tickled. I don't know why. Oh, man. Yeah, brownie points. This is a segment where we give ourselves kudos for something that we are proud of. It could be a small victory. It could be a major victory. Whatever it is, take this moment to love on yourself. This week, I am giving myself brownie points for sticking to the plan. When certain things happen, it kind of like knocks me off my square. And when things like that happen, I tend to be impulsive and make rash decisions that could have long-lasting implications and consequences. And here recently, I was like, you know what, I'm tired of this. I'm going to just, do this and do that. After thinking like, no, sis, what's the long-term goal here? Like, you have financial goals. You have very specific goals that you want to accomplish in a very specific timeline. So in order to do that, you need to do certain other things. You can't get off schedule. You can't get off track. So my brownie points I'm giving myself brownie points for not making an impulsive decision where I wanted to do something that would have given me some sort of relief, ease, and pleasure. But I chose delayed gratification. That's how I can sum it up. I be so long-winded. I am giving myself brownie points for choosing delayed gratification. Yes. There it is. What are you giving yourself brownie points for? If you're watching on YouTube, drop it in the comments. I'm giving myself brownie points for fill in the blank. Well, that's all I have for you. Please follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Shades of Brown Podcast. And of course, you can subscribe right here on YouTube if you're listening on YouTube. If you'd like to buy some podcast merch, please visit everythingalleyb.myspreadshop.com or just click the link in my bio on social media. If you would like to support the podcast in ways that do not cost you money, there are multiple options for you. You can subscribe to my mailing list by clicking on the link in my bio. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Everything Allie B. You can leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. That would be greatly appreciated. And of course, you can share this podcast with your community. Share it to your stories, share it to your social media, share it to your TikTok, share it to wherever, share it in your group chat, share it over dinner with friends. Like, just share. Sharing is caring. And if you want to start a podcast, you have the topics you want to cover, you know what kind of conversations you want, but you're just having a hard time with logistics and a hard time with figuring out all the back end stuff and all the administrative stuff. I would love to help you. If that's you, just click the link in my bio and schedule your free consultation. Again, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Shades of Brown, and thank you for your overall support of this podcast. I greatly thank and appreciate you. And as always, I'd like to leave you with this: be well, love well, and be loved well. That is my prayer for you because I believe you deserve that. So until next time, bye.